are more than one person here. So okay, so it looks like it's just one person, if I'm correct, that's kind of have some preliminary knowledge of Power Query. If I'm correct, if you are probably shy, I don't think there's a video here, so you can just raise your hand. Nobody's video. We're not doing any video meeting here, so we're all faceless. Okay, so I'll assume we're just like basically 2-3 people in this meeting that are ready to Power Query. So how do we go about this now? All right, so but then if you have this course material, like maybe the video, the material that any material was shared with you in the course of the week, and you have it and you have reviewed it, can you also, let me see, can you also signify, let me know, by maybe a thumbs up or something, any emoji. If you have the course material already and you have reviewed it on your own. Okay, Gorilla, Abi Gori. So, but when I said if you've heard of Power Query, you're not raising up your hand. Okay, maybe this is your first time. All right, so I think you might have to like do a twist. Okay, I have, but I'm yet to review it. Just go back from home. Just go back from work. All right, not to worry. I think we might just have kind of have a twist around the plans. Okay, so maybe I should just, I think I'll just have to share my screen. But okay, so the thing is, you need to have gotten the course materials already, maybe download them for you to be able to tag along with whatever it is that we might be doing. So our advice, if you don't have it already, just kindly get it now while we are in this meeting. So maybe download, you have the link already, so download the necessary materials for this course. All the contents that you need to download, kindly just download them while we are in this meeting so that to make it easier. Okay, so how do we start? Actually intended to just do more like a question and answer thing, and then we move on. Right now, it looks like sorry. Right now, it looks like we are going to be taking a little bit step backwards. Okay, so how do we start? So Power Query, for example, to start with, please, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, sorry, trying to share my screen. Okay, yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, okay, so this is Power Query, introduction to Power Query. So pretty much, we're not going to be going into the depth of Power Query. Is very, very broad, and so we're just going to be taking it one step at a time. So we're starting with introduction to Power Query. So Power Query is one very, very powerful tool in the data analysis process that's used to do a lot of pretty much interesting stuff. It's very, very essential in that you need it to be able to do some simple to complex iterations, and let me just use the word transformations. For example, I'm sure, okay, let me assume that we're all newbies in this class, in this session. So, but then you've heard of data cleaning, right? You've heard of data cleaning. So sometimes you get lucky that you get your data in a very clean state. When I mean clean, I mean very structured. No, you don't have to do much transformation. You don't have to remove these, extract these, clean, remove the unwanted stuff. Like the data is very structured, right? You might be lucky to get that. And then it depends on your data source anyways. And then you might get unlucky, especially if you're working with big data. Like when I mean big data, I'm talking about data of large volume, large rows, number of rows. Like you might be unlucky that maybe the data source you are pulling your data from, if, for example, if you are web scraping is that you are pulling data from a website, a web platform. So if you are web scraping, most of the time your data might not be clean. You might have a lot of things to still remove, adjust, and stuff. So Power Query is one very powerful analytics tool or analysis tool that helps you to put your data into shape or into the desired structure or form that will be fit for your analysis. Am I moving too fast? Please let me know.
I think we're good.
All right. Okay. So I'm actually not, I'm sharing my screen, so I'm not really seeing the Zoom meeting. So in case maybe I'm moving too fast or you're not clear about something, you can always call my attention back. So this Power Query, introduction to Power Query. So basically we're going to be looking at, so in that video, if you have access to it, you'll see the video has about 8 different sections, clean and transform data. So before we get there, so we're looking at the essence of Power Query. I mentioned that Power Query is used to transform, that's on a summarized notes, but Power Query is used to extract and import. So for example, you're trying to pull in your data from any data source, maybe from an SQL relational database, from a cloud-based database, from an Excel, a CSV flat file, or from SharePoint, from Google Sheets, whatever data source, from Access, Microsoft Access, whatever. Power Query, you need Power Query. I mean, because you need to see how your data is coming first before you say you want to start running and start churning out insights or do whatever analysis you want to do. You need to see how your data is coming. Then that will tell you, okay, because sometimes, like I said, some of your data, the way the data might come, the data type, maybe for example, a particular field is supposed to be number, but it's coming as decimal or coming as a text. And if the data type is wrong, your Power BI or your analytics platform BI tool will not be able to interpret what you're trying to do with that data point. So you need to be able to make sure that your data points, your field, your column is in the right data type. So Power Query helps you to do all of those, right? So Power Query is used to extract and import data, clean and transform data, and also do ETL. So ETL is basically extraction, transformation, and load. So this is more like some advanced analytics process. So we call it ETL, extract, transform, and load. Basically, you're extracting from a data source, you transform the data, then load the data to your BI to where you do your analysis or your visualization. So then Power Query helps to, the essence of Power Query is to extract and transform, extract and import from the multiple sources. I mentioned the different sources you can put your data from. You clean and transform data. It helps you to load Excel sheets, load your data into Excel sheets, Power Pivots, Power BI, and whatever BI tool. Mostly Excel and Power BI though. Use Power Query to also replace, so for example, there are some complex array formulas that you might be doing on your Excel. Maybe you want to extract unique characters, maybe in a row. Maybe for example, there are a lot of duplicates in a particular table, and you want to be able to sort those data in a unique way, sort them from ascending to descending, or extract unique, instead of you doing complex stuff. Power Query helps you to simplify the process, and you get whatever, you achieve the same thing. So also, Power Query is a function-based and a case-sensitive language. I want you to note this part. It's case-sensitive in the sense that if your data is coming in, the case is not consistent. Maybe you have maybe for example, the file extension for a particular sheet, maybe spreadsheet, is maybe instead of it has lowercase, another one has like uppercase, it will return error. So it's very case sensitive, and also it runs on an M code. I'm not sure if I don't know if you've heard of this, but M code is like a language, just like you have JavaScript, you have Python, and all of that. So Power Query is a function-based tool that runs on an M code. So you also see what the M code looks like. So creating Power Query solutions can be done with the user interface. And so Power Query also helps you to, as you are doing your transformations, you are seeing the different steps. So you're able to follow through the steps of your transformation. So it helps you to know how to like iterate your transformation process and all of that. And so that's pretty much the essence of Power Query. At this point, do we have questions?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, so, and I'm very much aware that we have very limited time, because I mean, I didn't intend that this is going to be like a tutorial thing. It's more like supposed to be a review. Expected that with the expectation that we would have actually done our own parts. So I just come to like probably tie every loose end. So what I expect is maybe questions from your end. What are you not clear about and stuff. So we have very, very limited time to be doing like the tutorial or more like training or teaching as such. But then let's see how far we can go. So if you have seen the video, one thing, these are the files that are attached to the course content. And so we'll be working, I'll just go over this. So we'll just probably do a transformation on Power Query using this Excel sheet, Excel table, data. So you have this data. So who can tell me, looking at this data now, what does it suggest to you? Like this highlighted one, what does it actually suggest to you? Like, does it make sense? Anybody? Hello?
I'm not sure it makes sense, but I'm trying to make sense out of it.
Okay, so what sense can you make out of this?
I'm seeing an amount column there. I'm expecting that there should be a date column. There should be another column for region, and then the other information, maybe group or something.
Okay, that's fine. So any other person has something to chip in about this? Okay, so let's not waste much time. So so basically, this data set, let's call this a data set. This is an unstructured data set, because there's just so much information clubbed up into, like, modeled up. So your BI tool cannot read this. It wouldn't make sense to your BI, because your BI tool, either Power BI or Excel, is supposed to be intuitive. So you should be able to interpret this. But it will be difficult for your BI tool to interpret this, because this is not structured data. So you have to find a way to structure it in a way that it will be useful to you, and or useful to the tool you are using to your analysis, and also useful to you as the analyst or the end user of the data, right? So this is where Power Query comes in. So the first thing you do is, so there are two ways you can, there's Power Query on Power BI, Microsoft Power BI, there's Power Query on Excel. So initially Power Query was running as Power Pivot on Excel. Before, that was doing the Office 365 thing, but right now the advanced this latest update of Excel now has Power Query, which is also the same Power Query in Microsoft Power BI. You see in Microsoft Power BI, they are very similar, and they run on the same M code. So we make this a table. Oops, sorry. Okay. Yeah. So we make this into a table. What's going on? Okay. Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah, so I don't know what's wrong with my mouse. All right, so okay, so we come to data. Oh, this is Google Sheets. Goodness. All the while I was thinking this was Excel. Okay. I'll have to download to Excel. Yeah, can you see my screen? Can you see my Excel screen?
Yes, I can see it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking it was Excel all the while. I didn't know it was Google Sheet. So okay, so we name this. So let's just call this test table. So it comes to data. So this is your Power Query. So you see get data, get and transform. So this is where you transform your data from. You select from table range. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, but it appears to have frozen.
Really? Wow. Let me stop sharing and share again. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're not frozen now.
All right. So yeah, so this is your Power Query. So you have home, you have transform. The transform tab is where you do your major transformations. There are different you have transpose, reverse. So all of these things, as you move on advanced level, intermediate, advanced, you get to understand why do you need to transpose, why do you need to pivot your column and split column. So now so if you can also add a custom column as well to your data set and all of that. There you might be doing some M code language, writing some M code. You get there, we also get there as well because of the events. So this is your home tab. So this is the data, this is the table. And so these are the rows, these are the columns, this is, you have description and amount. So now what we want to do now is that we want to separate all of these guys. Want to make them distinct columns. Because actually from what you have, somebody had mentioned, you were able to spot that there's supposed to be a region column, there's supposed to be a date column, there's supposed to be let's call it a name column, right? So we need to now do this. So notice that when you come to these applied steps, let's call this transformation. Okay, notice that when so I mentioned steps when I was talking about Power Query. So you're able to see as you are making your transformations, it's breaking it out into different steps as you are moving on with the transformation. So you have each step. So you're able to like trace your steps backwards or forward. So now, if you click on this source, you'll see this, and now this is the M code. This is what M code looks like. So this is the M code I was talking about. So you see our source is Excel workbook. The name of the table is table 1, and this is the content. So this is the M code for this table, for this Power Query transformation. And the next step is that it has changed the type. So it does it automatically. Actually, whenever you pull in your data from whatever source, there are two basic things that you see first. You see the source, and then you see the type. You see that data type it will automatically detect the type. It might get it right, it might get it wrong. So, but most often than not, it gets it right. So, for example, you see description. This is the data type. This is where you see your data type. You see it's in text. So now Power Query is not, even though you have different data types in this, you have dates, you have text, but it's seeing all of these things as a string or as a text, because that's how it can interpret it. So it has already automatically transformed this to a data type, to a text data type. Then this one, because these are integers, it has transformed this to numbers, whole numbers. So that's the next step. So whatever transformations we'll be doing from here, you see the steps would have increased. All right, so if I'm going too fast, please let me know. So now we want to split all of this. We want to be able to separate put them into distinct columns. So there are two ways to go about it. The first way is the easier way, and the other way is also the easier way, but one way is easier than the other. I mean, I like going the most easiest way as long as I'm able to achieve the same thing. So the first thing is you can come here, so from your home tab, you see split column. Then you click on, you have different options by delimiter, by number of characters, by position, by lowercase, uppercase to lowercase, digit to non-digits. All of these things you'll get to understand progressively. But what we want to do is I want to split this by delimiter. Delimiter is talking about a special character, right? So the delimiter here is like a special character. So what is the special character here? Who can tell me? What is that thing that is actually dividing this different data points? What's that thing that is, what's like the merging or concatenating point here? Can anybody say? Can anybody tell me?
Date, I think.
Date. Okay. Who else has another, like, a contrary opinion? Anybody? Okay, so let's not waste our time. So basically, as you can see here, each of the characters are distinct, or let me say they are unique. But there's something that is actually the bad guy here that is making it look like, oh, we are families, but we are not families. So it is, there's something that is very consistent here, and which is what? This /. You can see from this Carlota, let's pick this row, Carlota / date / west. So this is like the dividing force or the uniting force for these three characters. So we want to now separate them, say, oh, you guys are not families. You guys need to go your separate ways. So we want to remove this barrier or this binding force. So we come to split column by delimiter. Then, so automatically it shows you the delimiter, but you want to be able to customize it because space is not the delimiter, it's not the actual delimiter here. Delimiter here is this /. So you just select custom. Then what is your custom? Come here. Custom is /. Then it tells you split at leftmost delimiter, rightmost delimiter, each occurrence of delimiter. So what you want to do is that automatically you want to split it by each occurrence because everywhere you see /. So what you do here is that, so it is space / space. That's the delimiter. So it's able to say, because if you just put / anywhere there's /, it will pick it out. So that means it will also affect this date. We are saying wherever there is space / space, separate. So you are splitting it by this. Then, so I think we're good. So you click OK. So can you see the transformation?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Right. So basically now we have separated this. So we can see that they are all unique or unique. You have this name, you have the dates, and you have the region. Now you can see that Power Query has done another very, very smart thing here. By doing so, by just that single transformation we've done, it has changed the type automatically. It has added one extra step. So it can now say that, okay, oh, this column is a text. This column is date. We check it, it's in date format, right? You can say, okay, this one is also text because it's a string. So it has given the right data step. So that data step, rather, so it has done something very smart here. So that's that. So now we've been able to successfully separate each of the rough, nonsensical column that we're looking at before that it wasn't making sense. Now it now makes sense to us. Now there's one more thing we need to do. We need to, okay, I mentioned that there are two ways, right? So this is the first step. This is the first method. Let's go to the other method that I say is the easiest way. So let's cancel. You can also, and for each step, you can always go back to the first step to see how it was. That's the beautiful thing about Power Query. You can, maybe for example, you are trying to trace, oh, what have I done at some point? I want to see, maybe there's an error somewhere. You can see where the error is coming from. You can go back to each step and see. So this is where we started from. The next transformation was by where we split it by delimiter, and then the second transformation, the third one was the data type changing. So now we want to go back to the second method. So I'll delete this, I'll delete this. So we are back to square one. So now the second method is that you can right click, you see split column by delimiter. Same thing, custom space / space. That's all. Each occurrence of delimiter, and that's it. So which, by your judgment, which one do you think is the fastest or the easiest? The first or the second? it's up to you. So, so the next step we want to do is we want to rename these headings, because I mean, this doesn't make sense. Description 1, description 2, description 3. This is just default mode. So we want to rename them. So there are 2 ways to also do this. The first is to right click. In fact, there are 3 ways. There are 3 ways actually. The first is to either right click, rename, and there's the one that is the easiest. I'll also show you the one that is the easiest. So this is right click, you just do you change the name. So let's do this, change this to name. Let's assume this is name. I don't know what this might be. So let's call this name. Let's call this date. Let's call this region. Right? So we have name, date, and region. Check the steps, applied steps. You see that a new step has been added again called renamed columns. You can see. So it's telling you that, okay, you started from source, gradually baby step, you're able to arrive at this. So this where you are currently at is that you have successfully renamed the columns, 3 columns. So that's step 1, method 1. Method 2 is that so instead of you right clicking and just doing right click, you can just simply double click. When you double click, just name, that's all. Double click date, then double click region, and that's it. Check your applied steps again, you see that it has increased by 1, which is renamed columns. That's method 2. The last method, or the third one, might not be the last, is you come to your, so for every query, so whenever you import your data from any of those data source Power Query, this is called query. So your table is called a query. So for every query, there's always an M code or a function. This fx is called function or a formula. So there's always a formula, M code formula that is generated. So when you bring this down, sorry. Okay, yeah. So when you bring this down, you'll see the M code. So this is the M code. So what this means is that this is the M code that shows us all the steps. You know, this looks like, oh, rice and beans, right? But then there's a code behind it that is generated. So you can see the M code here. It shows that the table, which is table transformation data, is what we have called this table. Then the first step is that we are splitting column by delimiter. And these are the new columns, description 1, description 2, description 3. So this is the other method. You can also do this, just edit all this name, call this date, call this, we're really running out of time, call this region, and that's it. Oops. Okay, what is wrong? Name, dates, and region. Yeah, so we have it. So the same process, but different methods. So I leave it up to you to decide which one do you think is the fastest. Left to me, I would say this is the fastest. Right click, double click, and change it. Double click and change, double click and change. That's all. That's the fastest and easiest to me. So at this point, are there any questions?
None for me.
It looks like I've just been hearing one person all the while. So is it that every other
No,
person?
no questions for now, please.
Okay.
Following you.
So we can proceed. Okay. All right. So the next thing you want to, after you have done your
So that's
after,
I don't know question for me. I don't know about the house. You are saying for me. I don't know about the rest.
all right. So after every transformation you've done, right? After you've done all your transformations. I mean, this is just the basic thing that you can do with Power Query. There are much more advanced stuff you can do. But then after all said and done, what you want to do is that you want to load your data back into the BI tool, either Excel, if you're using Excel as for your analysis, you're using Power Query, Power BI. You want to load your data back into the BI tool after you have done your transformation. But then since we imported this from Excel, we are doing our Power Query from Excel, not Power BI. So first thing you want to do is that you don't do close and load, because you want to also be able to load your data into different mediums, either into a model or into an Excel table, or into pivot table, whatever medium. So you click on close and load to. So it shows you close and load to table, different, how do you want to view it? You want to view it as a table, pivot table report, pivot chart, only create connection, new worksheet. So you select only create new connection, because from there, it will help you to also, from there you can also do further transformations, right? Sorry. Okay. So you click only create connection. So when it's only create connection, select OK. So you can see that there's a connection that was created. Yeah. So what's the connection? You're able to see your transformation. Transform data, colors, 5, blah, 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 all the columns you've done. So this is your transformation. Now, you can also load this into a model. For those that are familiar with data Power BI, you know data, you've heard of data modeling, where you build relationship between different data views or data tables or cubes or whatever. Build relationship one to many, many to many, many to one, different kind of relationships within tables. So you can also have a data model built from this data. So you want to do that, you just right click. Sorry. Edit. Okay, so you come to, so you're on data tab, manage data model. Okay. What's going on here? Sorry. Okay, yeah, so you see load to. So when you come here to transform data, you want to load to maybe a table. From here, you can load to either a table to Power Pivot, a pivot table, or to a data model. So you come here, you see load to. So you see, so you can add this data to the data model. So you select add this data to data model. Keeps loading. So 481 rows are loaded into a model. So if you want to view your data model, you come to manage data model. So this is your data model. You can also decide to view it as a diagram. So come to diagram view.
We can't see your screen again.
Oh, you can't see my screen again. My goodness. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
So this is your data model. So you come to diagram view. So this is how your data model looks like. So you have the different columns. So if, for example, you have more than one table and you want to relate those tables together, then, so this is a table, this another table will be here, another table. So you can easily relate them together by simply drag and drop to the primary key or the foreign key, whatever it is. So this is how your data model looks like. So you have successfully loaded your data into a model, a data model on Excel. That's one. You can also decide to load your, you can decide to also load your data into a table. So you can say load to table, new worksheet. So it's same 481 rows are loaded. You're able to see your data in a tabular format. So this is the same thing transform. So now this wouldn't have been possible if we had not first gone to transform the data on Power Query. It's Power Query that helped us to. So this data looks very structured, looks clean. There's no impurity. There's no insanity. It's very sane. It's clean and well structured. All thanks to Power Query. So, like I said, there are still more advanced stuff you can do with Power Query, but then this is where you start from. So you have successfully loaded your table, your data to a table in Excel. So from here, you can decide to probably do pivot table from here. Maybe you want to, or probably create a chart from here. This is step one. You can also load your data into a pivot table, directly into a pivot table. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far?
None from me.
All right. Just want to know if I'm moving too fast. So you can load your data also into a pivot table. So okay, it's connected to a table in your workbook. Yes, please. So this is loading your data into a pivot table. At least I'm sure many of us have worked with Excel. You know what a pivot table looks like. So this is your pivot table. If, for example, you want to load your table into rows, your columns, dates to columns. Then you have your regions. Sorry. And check this. You want to load your table to, yeah, columns. Then regions. Okay. Okay. So you want to load dates. This should be one. The region. So can actually I just split into months, just one date. Okay. Okay, so you have your name. Okay, so what I'm actually trying to do here is to actually align the different columns, let them come in like rows and columns instead of everything coming in rows. So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to waste much time here on that. So basically, you have seen how to load your data from Power Query to Excel as a table, load it from Power Query to a data model on Excel as well. You see how to load your data from same Power Query to a pivot table. You can also load it from Power Query to a pivot chart. So you want to probably create a chart from that table. So you can also do that from there. So there's something I want to show you before we wrap up this. So let's go back to Power Query. Remember that there are two options. When you want to close and apply, you have two options: close and load, or close and load to. So if you close and load, it's just load everything to Excel. But sometimes you might want to load it to maybe like for example, you want to load to Power Query, Power Pivot table, or you want to load it as a connection first. So that's where you use your close and load to, right? So if it was Power BI, you would just see close and apply. So when you close and apply, it applies it directly to your BI to where you can now start your analysis. So I just wanted to show you that. So most times it's the best way to close and load to first. Then you can now decide where you want to load it to. So that's that. So that's on the city side. This side, I think we've been able to successfully close this part. Ordinarily, we're supposed to come to this part and treat review each of these sheets, but then it looks like we're really running out of time. And I expected that maybe you would have actually on our own check the video, so I'll just be answering questions and also just doing a run through. But it looks like we're doing this from taking this afresh. So this basically what I'm supposed to show you from here is that the second example of how to use Power Query is importing. So what we did earlier is to import data from Excel into Power Query. So now this is talking about importing data from another data source, which is Microsoft Access. So data in Microsoft Access is from Snowflakes. I don't know if you've heard of Snowflakes. Snowflakes is more like a pipeline, it's a data pipeline. So, or a data warehouse rather. So this is importing your data from Microsoft Access from Snowflake. So this is another example that we can also directly do from Power Query. But let me see if we can quickly run through that. But then I expect that maybe we already have our Microsoft, because in that course file, there are some things you need to download, which I expect that you have downloaded. But let me see if we can just do this before we wrap up. So so right now, I also want to, so I've already downloaded the file from Microsoft Access. This is what it looks like. We have the different tables. So here we have more than one tables in this file. We have a table called category, another table called products, another table called sales. So I want to load this into Power Query, right? So what do I do? The first thing is that I come to my data. So now what I want to do is I want to, so what do? I come to my data. I come to data on Power on the tabs, and I see. So instead of me selecting from table or range, because I'm moving here from Excel, I'm picking from another source. I come to get data from database. From database, so the database I'm deciding to use, which is an on-premise database, is Microsoft Access, which I've already downloaded to my local machine. So I click for Microsoft Access database. So you see, it takes you to your folder. So I downloaded it on, so this is it, import. So ordinarily, because it's a folder, right? So you are downloading you are importing a folder. So in the folder we have different 3 sheets. We have this, we have this and this. So select multiple items. So you want to import all the sheets. So you toggle all of them. Then don't click on load, click on transform, because you are still not done. You want to still transform the data. So select transform data. It takes you to Power Query. So Power Query, you're able to see the different queries. So for example, this is the first query we did, the transform data. It's already stored in Power Query. So this is the other queries you want to work on. So you have a table called the query, the products, F sales, which we pulled from our Microsoft Access database. So let's start from, so there's some, if you are I'm not very sure if you're very much familiar with some cliches, but we have what we call facts and dimensions. I'm very sure maybe in the course of this event, you'll be hearing more of that. So I won't be going so deep on that. So we have our sales, which is our facts table. We have products and categories, which are dimension tables. So so here you can see, and there's a connection. There's a connection between each of these tables. How do I know? Let me come to my Microsoft Access. And if I click on, there's something like model. Yeah, relationship. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, can see it.
So you can see the relationship between these different tables. The sales, which is our facts table, and the 2 different dimensions table, product and category. So the relationship is that when you can see it's a many-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship. What that means is that each product has sales for each product, right? So it has a many-to-one relationship. So these are facts and our dimension table. So relationship. So the connecting factor, or what we call the key here, is product ID. So you can see that this is joined. So for maybe, I don't know if you are familiar with SQL Server, here joins, inner joins, right joins, left joins. So this is more like a join too. So these 2 tables are joined by one key, which is product ID. So you see product ID here. Then coming to these 2 tables, excuse me, these tables are joined by one key called category key, category key, category key, right? So this is the relationship that is existing in this database. So we're also going to replicate the same relationship on Power Query. So let's go back to Power Query. This Power Query, you can see the different tables and our facts table, which is sales table. So here you would see, because there's a relationship between the product and the sales table. If I click on one row here now, you see so you can see that this product, the sales of that product. So this relationship is based on product ID. So for this product, this is the price of that product from this fact table. So this is the relationship. If you come to the products table, you'll see also a relationship. It has a relationship between the category table. There's a relationship existing between the category and the sales table. If I click on this category table, category field, the relationship is that for this product, the category is a one-to-many relationship as well. So this product is a general, let me call it, the category is general, right? That's this product, Belen, is under general category. What is the sales of that product? You can also see the sales of that product from that relationship. So that's that. If you come to the categories table as well, you will see the relationship between the category and the products table is a one-to-many as well. Click on this category, it has many products that are under that category, which is Charlotta, Ford, and a host of them. So that is it. So that's it. So now we want to what's going on here? So it's actually applying the different steps that have been as I've been moving from one different, it has been applying the different steps. So that's why you see this navigation. So let me come back to something is wrong. Something is wrong. Uh, I know we're going past our time, but let me just see how we can close this. Okay, so let me load my data again. Recent source. Okay. Okay, yeah. So this is it. So we don't need this. So we can also need to also there are some things we need to remove from this table. For example, this sales primary key, sales rep ID. We don't need this information in our data because it's not going to give us any insight. We don't it's not going to make sense. So we can remove it from this table. So we just right click. You can decide to remove columns. So there are two ways to also go about this, which I also show us. Remove columns. Also come here, remove. So if you check the apply steps, you see that it has added a new step called remove columns, right? So, but then this is one method. Another way to go about this is that rather than doing this, the easiest way is that you click on the first column you want to remove, press your control button on your keyboard and click on the second column. See that the two columns are highlighted. Then you right click on one, then remove columns. That's removed both. So that is, to me, that is the easiest way. And you're good. So you come to the product as well. What column do we need to remove from here? So I think we're good. So you click on load to only create connection. Add this to a data model. So let's see how it looks like. Am I running too fast, or are we all following?
We're following.
Wow, too.
All right. So it's loading. There are a lot of records in each table, so it probably takes some time to load. So it's creating relationship. So one thing that Power Query was wrong. Undo the exception. Analysis service. continue. Let me show what the issue is, but let's go on. So it shows that 4 rows loaded, 11 rows loaded under the sales, 336,942 rows loaded. So we can go ahead and we can check our data model and see the relationship. Can you see? So from the F sales, can I move this up? Yeah. So from the F sales, this is relationship product ID. This is the relationship between these two tables, category key by category key. So from here now, if you want to probably create a chart that's relating maybe each of those tables, you'll be able to do your lookups or whatever you want to do on your analysis, or whatever analysis you want to do with this relationship. You are good to go from here. So this is what Power Query has also afforded. So I've shown us the first transforming data from Excel, from an Excel data, or let's say Excel database to Power Query, transforming it. We've also done transformation of data from another database, a Microsoft Access database, pulling data into our Power Query, doing our transformation, building a model with it on Power Query as well, and viewing the model. If you come to your Access database, check the relationship, and so the relationships are also similar, exactly the same. So yeah, I think I'll just stop from here and take questions if there are any.
Samuel, thank you. The model, that is the relationship model for this one, right, it was automatic. Is it? I thought you have to use your hand and.
So yeah, good question. So one thing that Power Query does for you, right? Power Query has the M code of Power Query. Remember I mentioned M code, M language Power Query. So the M code of Power Query has the ability to intuitively detect relationships. So automatically, it's able to detect relationships between tables. So for example, you have two tables that have similar keys, or two primary keys that have relationships, right? So Power Query helps you to like detects those relationships between those two tables and directly connects them and relates them to one another, right? Fine, like I said, it might be wrong, it might be right, right? But most often than not, it's right. But there are some cases whereby it might be wrong, and from that point, you need to rightly do the relationship. But by default, Power Query helps you to like create connections or relationship between two or more tables by default. Right? Yes. To the second question, yes, you can also manually create your relationships, right? You can also manually create, if, for example, the relationship is wrong, maybe it's doing a one-to-many where it's not supposed to one-to-many, and all of that, which will have impact on your analysis. You can also reroute that and do your relationship from Power Query, or from your Power BI, or from your Excel, from your executive data model. But if you're using Power BI, you can do it from your data modeling tab on Power BI and do the right relationships, create the right relationships within the table. So does that answer the question? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Does
Okay,
that answer the question?
Hello. Okay.
So I think to add to that, let me just quickly do something before we just close this. I know we are really gone out of schedule, but let me just do this. So now, automatically, a relationship has been created by your Power Query between these two tables. But now I want to make these relationships inactive. and do it manually. So I'll just click on this active checkbox, uncheck it. So it has unchecked. So now, right now, there's no relationship as it were between these two tables. I can also click on this and uncheck. So no relationship as it were existing between them. So now I want to now draw a relationship between these tables manually. So what I will do is just drag and drop to make it active. Sorry. Okay. Come in. Oh, okay. I think this works on Power BI. This works on Power BI. The drag and drop thing works on Power BI. So, for example, if maybe automatically Power Query has already given me a default mode relationship, and maybe that's not what I want, so maybe I can make it inactive and then do the proper one by doing drag. So you don't what you just basically do is drag this to the column, the primary key where or the foreign key where they are relating to one another, and then it automatically creates the connection. So I think that is supposed to be covered in the the last part of this session. So that's supposed to be covered there, where we'll be doing appending. We'll be appending more than one tables together, and then doing some modeling around that. So I think that's all. Any other question? Okay, so in the absence of no other question, I think this is a safe space to draw the curtain for my end and allow the moderator to take over. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. So I wouldn't want to drag this session any further because we have really overstayed the timing. So I just want to wish everyone a very good night's rest. So bye, everyone.